everybody, Coco here, and today I'm going to be doing a foundation first impression and review. So the foundation I'm going to be reviewing is this Infallible Pro Glow foundation by L'Oreal. I have used the Pro Matte version for a while, really, and I saw this one and I thought maybe it would fix some of the problems I have with the mattifying foundation. So I've never really said what my skin type is. I believe it's pretty much combination. Sometimes I'm more oily, sometimes I'm more dry, and I have dry patches when I am oily, and so on and so forth. I believe that's combination, but I'm not entirely sure. I do have some breakouts occasionally, and I have a lot of redness and discoloration under my eyes. I have really bad dark circles, and I have a lot of redness, and I think I honestly have rosacea a little bit in my cheeks. So that's kind of all the stuff that I have with my skin and my problems. So if you have similar skin or different skin, then you'll know maybe a little bit better how it will work for you. So the claims on the bottle say that it is for a radiant finish for normal to dry skin and that it's hydrating. So I'm hoping that that won't intensify my oil, but it will help with my dryness, because Lord knows when I use mattifying primer and foundation that my dry patches are awful. Like, they get so crusty and I feel like it just like wants to flake off. Not good. The back of this says, lasting glow foundation, never dull and never greasy. It says the finish is radiant. You can wear up to 24 hours and the coverage is medium and the texture is air light. If that's true, that's awesome. I love pretty full coverage foundation, but I hate when it's heavy and it makes you feel like you have a thing of plastic on your face. Don't really care for that. So if it's air light and it has medium coverage, that's pretty good. So I got the foundation in shade 201, which is the lightest shade. So I'm gonna swatch a couple of different foundations that I use just to make it so that you guys can see the different colors and kind of how this tone looks compared to different foundations. So this is the Infallible Pro Glow in 201. This is the Infallible Pro Matte in 101. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus Foundation in Shell Ivory. This is the Wet n Wild Photo Focus in Nude Ivory. And then Dermacol in 208. So also I changed my background a little bit. I'm gonna see if this looks a little bit better, because the last video I filmed with my new lens, the background looked super dark and awful. So I put a ton of lights up and maybe that'll make it look better. So I'm gonna use the Master Prime by Maybelline in Blur and Illuminate as my primer. So I'm just gonna apply this all over my face. All right, now I'm really shiny. Yay! Now that I have my foundation primer on, I'm going to go ahead and put some of the Pro Glow on the back of my hand. Oh my god. Okay, I did shake this a little bit, and I don't know if you're gonna be able to tell without, it's super duper runny. I'm scared it's gonna like fall. It's so runny. The Infallible Pro Matte is not runny at all. But this is really runny. And it looks kind of dark on my hand. Hopefully it'll match my skin. So to apply my foundation, I almost always use the Real Techniques sponge, beauty sponge, whatever they call it. There's a siren. Lovely. Well, I'm sorry if you can hear the sirens, but it's been going off for about 8 minutes and I don't know why. So we're gonna go ahead and apply the foundation. I'm gonna get a little closer. So I'm just going to kind of dot this in my face. It feels so wet. I don't think I've ever really used a non-mattifying foundation, so this is weird. Okay. Alright. Hey! I'm actually gonna cover up my zits. Let's see if we can do that. That's exciting. It does look a lot more dewy than I'm used to. Not necessarily a bad thing. The color isn't too bad either. It actually looks pretty light. Okay, So the coverage actually on this is pretty good. For how like liquidous it was when I put it on my hand, I didn't think it would cover anything. So I think you guys can see that it's very like glowy. I have a lot of shine on my face, which is normally something I wouldn't like. It did cover my zits a little bit, but you can still see them. So I'm gonna go around with a little bit more and try to spot conceal those. I'm gonna take it a little bit down my neck because it is a little bit darker than my skin. If you guys can kind of tell, kind of blend it so it's just not like a harsh line. So I actually like the way this blends out. It does look super natural and it does not feel heavy at all. It honestly feels like I just put a moisturizer on. So it does seem like it builds. It didn't really take it off. Like sometimes when you add more foundation over first layer of foundation, it takes it off and then you just have like a patch where you don't have any makeup now. And you're like, I actually wanted more coverage, not to take it away, but okay. I am gonna put a little bit of this under my eye just because right now I'm not putting on concealer and I feel like I look like a demon, which isn't really what I'm going for. So I do think the color is maybe a little bit too dark. If it oxidizes anymore, it's probably gonna be just a tiny, like 1 to 2 shades too dark for me, but I am extremely pale. So the finish of this is very like luminous. It has a lot of shine, but like usually my forehead and my T-zone is more where I get shiny, and I feel like it's more like just on the high points, kind of like a highlight, which is kind of cool. Since this is my first time wearing a intentionally dewy foundation, it is a little bit more sticky than I'm used to. It's not like super duper sticky, and I always set stuff with powder anyway, so it might just be because I haven't put powder on yet, which I am. I'm going to put on just a translucent powder and then do the rest of my makeup. So cool. It feels pretty nice. It is really lightweight and it feels super natural, and I feel like it looks really natural compared to what I usually wear, which kind of makes me look more like a doll than it looks like real skin. It looks more like a porcelain-esque look. And I do like the glow. It didn't really cling to any of my dry patches, but I am a little bit nervous because of how dewy it is that it's gonna make my face super oily. So that's why I'm doing a wear test, so hopefully we can find out if it does make my skin really oily throughout the day. I do feel like the formula for this is a lot lighter. Like it has a thinner consistency, and I feel like since it says it's air light, that this one actually feels really air light. This one's supposed to be air light too, but I feel like this one's more like a medium kind of feel. Like it's not super heavy, but I feel like I can feel this on my face a lot more than I can feel this. So I feel like this one does feel better, but I'm not sure if it's gonna last as long on me since I do get oily and sweaty and gross. so I'm going to go and apply the rest of my makeup, and then I'll meet back here with you guys and we'll talk about how everything blends and how the color ends up setting and all of that when I come back. Alright, so I'm back now and I just put on the rest of my makeup. So here's kind of the overall look with the foundation. I'll try to have everything linked down in the description so that you guys can check it out. So while you're perusing around, make sure you hit the subscribe button so that you're up to date with everything that I do, since I tend to do a little bit of everything and just kind of random videos all the time. Also, be sure to give this video a like if you enjoy this and want more of these kinds of videos. If you have any input or constructive criticisms, you can put those in the comments so that I know how to make these videos even better. So I just used a translucent powder to set the rest of my face. I didn't want to leave it by itself because I don't do that normally, and I feel like if I didn't set it, I wouldn't be giving it a fair chance. But blending out my contour and my blush and my highlight and everything, it was pretty normal. It wasn't amazing, but it wasn't really that hard either. The color of this has oxidized a very small amount, and you can't tell too much. I didn't bring it down my neck very much. You might be able to see a really slight difference in color on the camera. The feel of it is super lightweight. I feel like I just have a moisturizer on, even though I put powder and like full blown makeup on today. So far, I really like it. After I went to put on the rest of my makeup, I do feel like it looks a lot better once it warms up a little bit to your skin, which most foundations are like that. Okay, so I'm doing a kind of close-up right now so that maybe you guys can see my like face a little bit better. So around my eyes isn't creasing too bad. It looks pretty good. Around my nose looks amazing compared to what it normally does with mattifying. And this side is especially bad. I have really big pores, but they don't look big at all. They look really good. And then like my lip, like I just feel like the texture of this looks super good. Like, look at that shine. That's really pretty. So there's kind of the texture of my forehead. You can kind of see some texture in here. Nothing bad, it's just like my skin. It actually looks really smooth. Really, 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 really smooth compared to what it normally does. So I am gonna keep this foundation on for the rest of the day and give you guys a couple more updates throughout the day, just to see how it feels and looks throughout several hours of wear. Considering this is supposed to be a 24-hour foundation, it should stay really well. So it's currently 12:23, so that when I check in, you guys will know how long I've had the foundation on for. And yeah, I'm excited to see if this lasts well. I hope it does, because I do really like it. So it's currently 6:12, which means that this has been on for almost 6 hours. And for being on for 6 hours, it looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go ahead and give you guys a close up. So this is what it looks like close up. So my pores and stuff still look about the same. It doesn't look really like it's separating or anything, and it doesn't look super oily. Like there's definitely some dewiness, but I don't think it's oily at all. And if you don't like the dewiness, you could probably take an oil wipe or whatever and it would be fine. I wasn't especially cautious about anything. I didn't try to not like touch my face or anything any more than I normally do. So I gave it a very fair chance, and I think it did really well. I like it a lot. I do think if I were to work or somewhere where I'm going to be really hot, it might look a little bit more oily. But since I've had it on for this long and it still looks pretty good and it feels nice still, because sometimes you feel kind of gross and oily, but I actually feel pretty good with this on. So I'm kind of excited. I really like this. I give it 2 thumbs up because I think it's pretty damn good. So yeah, I'd definitely use it again, and I probably will. It might be my new favorite foundation. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, be sure to leave a like, comment, and maybe even subscribe. I hope to see you guys in my next video, and until then,